I knew I was forgetting something. Oh, my microphone is way... I'm not even ready for this stream. Why did I push start? What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm not even ready. I forgot my headphones. My microphone is way off over here. Bring it over here so that way you guys can hear me. I plug in my headphones, turn this down, turn that down, and there we go. Now it's probably a little bit better. Now it's kind of more like I'm ready to stream. So, what up? I'm streaming. First of all, I want to address the blue in the room. It's actually, you might not even notice it. I noticed earlier while I was like pre-setting up this stream, believe it or not, I did actually do some stuff before starting the stream. I just forgot the headphones and the microphone. And I noticed the color correction was making me look very, very red. Now, I realized actually just like literally a minute before starting the stream, it just kind of had to do with flux. You know, the blue filter thing was just making me look a little bit more red than normal. But even still, after disabling that, I still looked very red, and it didn't seem right. Like, I'm not that red of a person. So I did some color correction, and actually what I wound up using was just a lookup table, a LUT, which is supposed to give it some sort of like 80s teal vibe. But it was easy to just dial that in, put it at about 20%, and because it was sort of, you know, that 80s teal vibe going on, just putting it at about 20% kind of cooled the color temperature down of the image a little bit. So hopefully the things look a little bit better, a little less red, but I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so here we are, last stream before I start working, and you know, I will probably still try to stream every week just because I don't know, I'm trying to do this somewhat seriously. Like you may have noticed, if you're a subscriber on my channel, you may have noticed I actually started like actually doing that YouTube thing where like I, you know, do the thumbnail, and actually there's like a bunch of weird shit going on in the description now because I'm just trying to play the YouTube game. Just to try to get a few more views out of these things. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna be a, you know, a hit streamer. What's one of those popular streamers? Shroud, I think that's the name of one of them. I don't know. I really don't watch streamers that much. So, you know, I don't think I'm gonna be making it up into those ranks. Not even halfway into those ranks. But yeah, you know, it'd be nice to have a few more viewers, just potentially. Just give it a little bit more try. The only reason why, actually, I'm going to be honest here, is that I feel motivated after seeing some of the success I've had by begging for likes, subscriptions, views, and checking out stuff in the description. Now, the like, subscribe thing, like, hasn't really, I don't think really makes that big of a difference. I don't think really that many people like and subscribe when I beg for it. Not to mention, it's at the end of the video. I put it at the end of the video. I know I'm talking about it here, and I'm just talking about as someone who's never done that in the past before, as far as I'm aware, until I started doing, you know, many of these streams recently. Yeah, I've noticed an improvement in some stats. Now, like I said, the like and subscribe thing, not a huge improvement in those stats there. However, when I do mention checking the stuff in the description, I have noticed a substantial more what am I trying to say here? Substantially. That's it. That's the correct conjugation. Substantially more activity happening at my various sources. You know, with the book and the music. Actually, I got a few, well, I say a few. It's not a few. It's one. I got a random new sale on my music, which is always nice to see. I don't get many sales on my music because no one knows who the fuck I am. So, you know, when I just get a random sale out of the blue, it's like, whoa, hey. But even still, if it's not a sale, I still, even if it's not a sale, I still get regular listeners on it. Same thing for my book. Actually, I haven't checked the stats in a while because it's finished being published online at this point. I had finished publishing it online a few months ago, but I had been doing a couple of extra bonus updates after finishing the book that I was posting bi-weekly at that point, and now all those updates are done, and so I think I'm just kind of done with the book for now. So anyways, you know, at the time I was noticing that I would get regular readers of that as well. So that's cool. And what else do I have linked down there? There's the book, there's the music, and the game, actually. The game, too. Yeah, I'm surprised that my previous game, which was mostly just a tech demo, actually seemed to get... it had a couple of downloads and had some regular viewers to the page as well. So, like I said, it feels like doing my begging for you guys to check stuff out in the description does seem to be working as far as getting more eyes on my stuff, which is what I want. And the whole purpose of me bringing this up is just that because I feel like playing the YouTube game, doing the, you know, stereotypical like, subscribe, comment, all that kind, you know, mentioning that, I feel like doing that because by mentioning that, I've had more success with my other stuff. Like, it's actually brought attention to things. Like, it's actually been effective. And because that has felt effective, I've wanted to try to do a little bit more of the YouTube game stuff to see if I can also kind of improve things as well. So that's why I've decided to go ahead and actually do like a thumbnail for these streams, as well as put a bunch of cancerous SEO stuff in the description. And maybe one day I'll figure out how to do a good title. I don't know how to do that, though. You guys can tell me. So anyways, with all the business out of the way, let's take a look at what's been done, and it's been a lot. It was another busy week. Despite continuing getting just locked into playing Warframe, sucked into it, this fucking black hole of a game, I have managed to play a little bit less Warframe and do a little bit more RPG making. And so, yeah, let me show off a number of different things that have gotten done. You can already see one of the new things right here. This is just right where I left off. So before we even talk about this, let's come back over here. This is where we left off. Last time I talked about parallaxes and how the hell those work. This has been an endeavor. Previously, what I was trying to do with this effect is I was going to, for the parallax, the background here, which currently is just clouds. You don't actually see these clouds, by the way. They're just kind of placeholders there. But anyways, these clouds, I wanted to be like you're looking down at the land below, and as you climb up these stairs, the ground kind of sinks away as you get higher up, right? And so previously what I'd been trying to do was using a series, like I rendered a really giant map, and then in Photoshop I was just adjusting the crop level of that map and rendering out each additional crop level, so it'd start really cropped in, basically zoomed in on that map, and then at certain points the player would touch and it would transition to a further out, like a more zoomed out version of the map, and more zoomed out, and more zoomed out, and more, right? But the problem with that is that it's a hard cut from one image to another, and so it looked really bad. I didn't like the hard, kind of jerky cut from different crop levels. So then what I was, my wish list item was to just find a plugin that would allow me to put the image in the background, or parallax, put the parallax there, and then effectively the plugin would not only know to, you know, pan the parallax with the player, but also could zoom the parallax out. Well, that doesn't exist. some guy, which I don't know how true this is. I went to the RPG Maker forums. Again, I wanna shout out the RPG Maker forums. So far, my experience with them has been like really, really positive, like really great. Folks usually always have helpful advice, and they usually spell it out very clearly, and they're usually fairly patient with new users. And they're smart, so they know how to find the resources that you need. And so it's a night and day difference to some of the other forums I've used, like forums for my music making. There's a lot of gatekeeping there. There's a lot of cynicism and jadedness in those forums. And Unity was okay. I didn't give it a very real attempt, but even still, a lot of the replies, although helpful, were not very approachable as a newcomer. So it's like maybe slight on the friendly side, but not really on the understanding side, if that makes sense. So yeah, shout out to the RPG Maker forums for being helpful. So I went there, and I had one guy say that basically what I'm asking for is impossible. I don't know how much I believe this, but he's basically saying is you would have to do some fancy, difficult maths to be able to tell where the origin point is on the image, like the starting point of the image, so that way when you zoom out, it knows where to zoom back to, which I don't know how true that is or not, but it sounded not right, but doesn't matter. Someone else came along and had a much better idea on how to do this. Instead of dealing with parallaxes, we could kind of create a fake parallax through using image masks. I'm going to try my best to explain this, but once I show it off in game, I think it'll make a lot more sense. And I'll probably have to actually, now that I think about it, even showing it off in game might not make that much sense. So I'll have the image files here and I'll show you how this works. But let me try my best to explain this first before I just go into showing off this stuff. Actually, how about this? Why are we doing this? Okay, so first we have this map. This is a very large image, and this is the ground below that I want the player to look at from these stairs back here, right? So this is actually not going to be used as the parallax as far as RPG Maker is concerned. It's not called a parallax, because in RPG Maker, a parallax is an image that goes behind the tile set. And so that's what these clouds are. They are an image that goes behind this tile set. This image is not going to be that. Instead, technically what happens is it lays this image in front. So it is actually on top of the stairs. Now here's the fun part. Next, I use this image here, which is, I know, super thrilling. I use this image here, which is an image mask. So all it is telling what information gets to pass through and what image gets made transparent. And so, as you can tell, the white is going to pass the image through, so it's visible, and then the black makes the image transparent. So what is happening is that it's basically cutting out a section of this image so that way it can let the staircase through. So now that it's an image, RPG Maker has plenty of controls for manipulating pictures on screen. And so now it's only a matter of being able to use those tools within RPG Maker to tell it what to do with this image. So, it starts out, really zoomed in, and then I can tell it to zoom out. It's only going to zoom out this picture here. This picture, the mask, is going to stay the same. So no matter how much this zooms in or out, this little black space will always be transparent. Nothing will ever overwrite that, if that makes sense. So with that, I basically have created a faux parallax effect, and it is actually really fucking cool. This guy is a genius, man. When he first mentioned just try using pictures to do this, like, I already felt like an idiot. It's like, why am I barking up this tree in parallaxes when, yeah, images, that makes sense. But there was some other challenges with that. He wrote up this super simple code here, JavaScript. It's just a single line, and it's just using the... I want to try to sound smart here. I don't even know. I had to do a little bit of research because when I first put this script in, it didn't actually work properly. And that's to no fault of either of us. That was just because of one of the plugins that I have was overriding its effects. So we just had to make a small adjustment. This 3 here, had to change it from a 2 to a 3. Anyways, to try to sound smart and like I know what I'm talking about, even though I don't, he's using the Pixie renderer, which is a part of the like engine backend for RPG Maker, to basically just tell it what to do with 2 images. It's basically comparing the 2 images. So the first section here is the children 10, that's just the picture number, is going to mask. And what is that going to mask? It's going to mask picture number 19 here. So he wrote that up for me. And after a little bit playing, because like I said, there was a little bit of a conflict between this script and one of the plugins that I have. Once we got that solved, plopped it in, and I made the adjustments with the correct pictures and all that. And let's just go ahead and show off this effect. It is so cool. I really like it. And it's not perfect, and I'm going to talk about some of the flaws with this in just a minute. But let's just go ahead and take a look at it. I've worked on the timing for this, so it should be flawless. So yeah, there's a brief moment you could see. I don't know if I noticed last time I was playing back my previous stream, and I noticed that the frame rate of the stream is a little bit slow, that it doesn't catch everything that happens in RPG Maker. So I don't know if that was on screen long enough for the stream to see it, but there is a very brief flash of the clouds, this cloud background here. It does appear for a brief second, but because I'll probably have a fade in transition effect, it will be hidden before, like, the players won't be able to see that. Anyways, let's just take a look. So here I am, and as I start moving, you're gonna notice the exact effect that I was talking about. So let's just move. It's pretty fucking cool, right? So as you move, it zooms out and pans forward a little bit, just like a parallax. This blue haze starts to come in too as you get higher and higher. And actually, that's it. I mean, this was just a test. Let me explain how this is not a perfect solution. It's perfect for my game because my game is fairly small in scale, fairly small in scope, and so it's okay if it's not, you know, the absolute most, you know, flawless way of doing this. Let me show you one of the problems. If we're looking at the editor here, you're going to notice these event blocks about every 5 squares, every 5 steps in the grid. And so, let me refresh this so we're back at the beginning of this. So watch what happens when I step on the first grid, but stop moving. Do you see that? I'll keep going forward. So what's happening is it's just a scripted transition effect. So when you step on the square, it tells the game to move the image. It tells the game to zoom the image out and move it forward just a little bit. Or move it backwards just a little bit. And it tells it to do that over the span of 80 frames. And the reason why it is 80 frames is because that is exactly how many frames it takes to go from one square to the other. So if I don't stop moving, it looks like it's constantly zooming out, right? So if I keep going, there, 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 right? So it keeps zooming out the image as I go, because the minute it reaches the end of that 80 frames, as in the point where it stops zooming out the map, I'm already touching the next event that tells it to zoom the map out some more. The reason why it's every 5 frames is just because it would be really annoying, and I'm considering adjusting this down to maybe 2, so every 3, so it'd be 1 2 3 1 2 3 like that, to make the steps smaller. But the reason why is because I don't really want to have, for the record, this is just a test map to test this effect out. This is not the actual map it's going to be used on. And the actual map it's going to be used on is probably going to be twice the length of this map. This is actually, it's going to be more than twice the length, because I believe this map is 100 tiles tall, and the map that it'll actually be used on is 255 tiles tall. So, yeah, it's having to put down 1 square for 255 tiles is a little bit ridiculous. And it's going to be difficult to constantly have to edit these values, because that's the thing, is like at every step I have to tell it to what it changes to. So I have to place the new event, open up this, change the width, the height, hit OK, go to, wait, is that it? No, the width, the height, and the Y. And then I can apply, OK, go to the next one, and repeat that, and repeat that, and repeat that, and repeat that. So, anyways, I don't want to have to do that. So, yeah, that's one of the flaws with the system, is that, you know, I have to do a lot of work using a lot of events, and so it's kind of a trade-off of how accurate I want. In the event a player stops in the middle of this, the illusion is broken, and I can smooth that out by reducing the number of steps. But if I reduce the number of steps between events, then I'm going to have to use twice the number of events, or more than twice. So, yeah, it's not perfect, but I really like the way that the effect works. So like I said, I think when I actually implement it properly into the game, I may reduce the steps to half the number that I'm using now, so that it's 1 2 3, the event will be here, and then 1 2 3, the event will be here. But I'm not completely sure yet. The nice thing is about this test map is that if I want to keep it as it is with every 5th tile, it triggers the event. So it's 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. In the event that I want to keep this, it's as simple as just copying and pasting the ones that I have over to the new like in-game version of the map, and then just adding on the new ones past this one. Now, one of the things I do think is that it does get a little bit too far zoomed out when we're not even halfway through the length of the map. Like, remember, this is like 100 tiles, but the main one is going to be 255 tiles long, tall, whatever you want to say. And so I think it zooms out a little bit too quickly. So I don't know. I do think maybe I need to play around with it a little bit. But anyways, that's the effect. And I spent a lot of time trying to get this to work. So yeah, this took a while to get it set up, but I'm very happy with the effect. And yeah, I'm glad I got that working finally. It also feels like a big brain kind of thing using these. Do I still have the pictures open? No. Oh yeah, here they are. Using these pictures here as the way to do that. It feels very, very big brain. Yeah, game design. So, anyways, yeah. So what else did I work on? So I also, during this time while I was waiting for replies to my thread on the RPG Maker forums, I worked on I worked on that too. We'll come back to that. I worked on Mallory's quest, and Mallory's quest is now finished. Hooray! So now there's actually the first NPC quest that you can start, and you can get to the end and get the rewards from it as well. So now everything happens for completing Mallory's quest. I'm quite happy with it. And so now that's one NPC down. How many are left? I don't know. There's still a lot. There's still a lot left to do with the NPCs. So yeah, but I'm glad that I got that done. There's not much else I can say about it because, you know, I like to leave the story stuff for your own discovery. I don't really want to go in depth about it. So, you know, I don't really want to talk too much about that. I think that's just really all that needs to be said. So, other than that, what else got done? So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this. So, I've been working on, the north part. So, to just as a reminder, so this whole section that I was just talking about with the parallaxes and all that, this is kind of like the final area. So, this is like the climb, the big dramatic climb to the final boss. And so, if I wanted to implement this, because I had that really kicking ass song that I'd shown off the last two streams, because the stream before last, it was kind of unfinished. So in the last stream, I showed off the finished version. So anyways, I really wanted to implement that song into the game. So that's why I started working on doing this, and since it's kind of like the final area, I needed to build up to that point to implement this parallax thing and also be able to use the song as I wanted. So I started working on that. So here's the north corridor. Like I had mentioned before, with the town, I have these corridors that separate each level. Now, there's only the 3 levels, so you have the level there, the level here, and then the level here, and then to the north is just the area to the final boss. But just to keep things thematically consistent, where each of these sections were divided by a corridor, I decided that I wanted to put a corridor to the north. It's not necessary. These corridors are used to calculate some stuff before going into the level. And they're not. I mention this every time. It's not 100% necessary, but it's just the way that I've developed the logic of the game, that I've just decided to do that, to simplify some stuff. So, anyways, here there's no logic to be calculated, really. So there's not really much of a reason to have a corridor. But like I said, for thematic consistency, I've decided to implement a corridor anyways, so here's your north corridor. One thing I did want to do is, of course, put a chest here. So you get these, I've briefly mentioned it before. The librarian basically gives you, like, power-ups, I guess you could say. You could consider them like character growth points, whatever you want to call them. Skill points or whatever. They just... stat points, or, you know, anything. You could call them any number of things, but anyways, basically improvements to your character after you get a certain number of items. And so yeah, I want at least one, so you need 4 of these pages from a book. That's the game story. You bring 4 pages of this book to the guy at the library, and he'll give you a self-help book. And the self-help book will improve your stats. So whichever self-help book you decide to get in return for returning the pages to the librarian will increase different stats. And so I wanted enough pages in each level, and of course enough pages in the town as well. And so I have 3 of these pages implemented now. So there's one here. They're all going to be easy because they're all in the town. They're kind of meant to be easy to get. And then there's one in the inn. And then I thought it might be fun just to kind of throw one up here. The reason is that players will know that going this way is towards the final boss. And so I have a feeling there will be a few players who think like, oh, I'm not ready to go there yet, so I'm not going to go that direction quite yet. And so it'll be, I think, kind of a funny surprise to them that at any point they could have gone this way and gotten a page a little bit early on. So yeah, just you know, I'm sure there's going to be, I'd probably say 60% of players probably find this one early on, and there's going to be that other 40% who just decide to avoid going to the north section because well, they're warned this is the direction towards the final boss, so maybe they don't want to go this way yet. So, anyways, there's the north corridor. Now here's the castle courtyard. I have a new tile set. I'm gonna come clean here. There's gonna be some people who are probably a little bit upset. In my previous it was probably my previous stream, or maybe the stream before that, I don't remember. I mentioned I'm a little bit too poor to be purchasing tile sets for my game. And that hasn't changed. So I'm a little bit surfing the high seas, you know, the seven seas. Arr, Govasti! Honestly, it was more... There are not many reliable sources that I could find for getting RPG Maker stuff. Acquiring, privateering, to use the words of Linus, privateering, Linus and Luke. There's not many reliable places to privateer RPG Maker stuff. So, honestly, the amount of time I spent looking for this tile set to privateer, if I had been working a minimum wage job, I probably would have earned enough to just buy it outright. Anyways, I'll still pay for it legitimately once I have my paycheck. But in the meantime, I just, you know, why stifle creativity? I felt motivated to do this now, so I'm going to do it now, and then later I can just pay it off. So, anyways, privateering. I endorse it. Anyways, I like this area. It's very pretty. It's very pleasant. Actually, what I really like is that it's kind of also a place for, like, players to just kind of chill out. There's a handful of different kind of like Easter eggs and hidden stuff that's going on here. First of all, I don't mind pointing this one out. I'm interrupting myself. Hang on. Hang on, Nolan. I'll let you speak in just a minute, but let's let Nolan talk. Okay, so I have a number of different animal life just hanging out here. And there's actually 10 animals, you may have noticed. There's 3 butterflies here, 3 more butterflies here for 6, and 3 fish over here to make 9, plus this dragonfly just hanging out here for a total of 10. And coincidentally, the town has... oh, wait, it's going to be up here, isn't it? Here. And coincidentally, the town has 10 ranks. So what happens is this little area will kind of transform depending on what your community happiness is what kind of wildlife will show up here. And the dragonfly is the last one that'll show up. And I had this dragonfly, I had to apply a lot of fucking logic to. You can see I have a controller for him over here, just to control his movement routes. And this is fun. I had to use regions to tell the dragonfly where he can and cannot go. So what I wanted is there's a little mini game, a hidden mini game, we'll say, with this. Oops. There's a hidden mini game with this dragonfly. And so I wanted him to be able to just kind of fly around freely, but at the same time, I don't want him to, like, fly over here on these walls. I don't want him to be here, over here, nor do I really want him to go up here where you'd have to, like, transition to the next area of the map. And I don't want him to be up here on the walls, nor do I want him to be in this water down here or over here. Like, this is areas that the player can't get to. However, I did think it would be totally fine if the dragonfly wants to fly from here over to here. That's totally fine. Like, going over these hedges that separate these little gardens from the main area, that's okay. So I had to create a dragonfly controller to give him the logic on where it's okay to fly and where it's not okay to fly. And this went through a few iterations. And the occasional adjustments too, because occasionally telling him where he can fly would somehow lead him into a place where he's not supposed to fly, and then he would get stuck there because he's not supposed to be there. So I've had to regularly make adjustments to his flight path, as I guess you could say, so that way that kind of shit doesn't happen and he doesn't get stuck somewhere that he's not supposed to. So yeah, that dragonfly was a pain in the ass to implement, but I implemented it. I haven't even really implemented the minigame. All it says right now is you caught me, which is just for testing purposes. Like, that's not really, I mean, he might say you caught me, but like, that's not going to be the whole mini game. Is he just says you caught me and then that's the end. Like, no, that's kind of stupid. I was trying to think of what to do with it, and so what I kind of came up with was, I mentioned last stream probably that you know, I'd spent a lot of time building out this whole map, which was just to export as a picture for the background of this, you know, whole parallax effect thing that I was talking about. And it just kind of seemed like a waste to have spent so much time, like, building out this map and putting all the tiles and all of that, that it seems, you know, like I said, wasteful that it doesn't get used other than for that picture that will appear and disappear after a brief amount of time. And that's that. Like, so I kind of wanted to, I was kind of thinking maybe it might be possible to actually use this map for something. And so what I was thinking is that the dragonfly can maybe unlock some sort of way for the player to get to this map and access maybe like a very special weapon or something. I'm thinking that I could create like some sort of Ultima weapon in this game, but the thing is that I'm probably going to make it very tough to unlock. It's not just going to be get the community up to rank 10 and then catch the dragonfly to get the ultimate weapon. Like, no, it's probably going to be a lot more where it's kind of like, well, if you've been able to do all of this other bullshit that I set up for you, then all right, fine, you deserve the ultimate weapon, but like, yeah, you have to do a bunch of extra side content, and I've kind of already implemented that. The idea is that I've actually already thrown in a bunch of like little Easter eggs to find like hidden music, hidden background songs that I've made, and they're not anything special. I don't want you to feel like you're really missing out on something. They're usually just like variations of the level music, and so basically I've just created just a variable that just, anytime you find the hidden background song, it just adds +1 to that variable. And so whatever the final value is, I'm not sure what that's going to be, maybe 5 or 6, I don't know. You'll need, but the point is you'll need to find all 5 or 6 of those hidden background songs, and then maybe after you catch the dragonfly, then maybe it'll give you access to getting the ultimate weapon. So I don't know. That's my idea right now. I may adjust that. I may change that. I don't know. Speaking of making changes, are these butterflies. These butterflies that are on the map, you can interact with them. And originally, I just kind of thought, you know, it doesn't need to be anything important. A scaling of importance, I guess, is... I had this kind of my own... I'm good at interrupting my own self. Hang on. So, right now all it is it just heals the player, which actually seems really pointless because the player should already be full health when they get here, because anytime the player enters the city, it automatically restores their health to full. So yeah, so the only time your health is not at full is when you are outside of the city. And so if there's no enemies from here to here, then there's no reason why Fiddle's health would be less than full. So it seems pointless to restore Fiddle's health. So I mean, it's a fun little interaction that's there, but I kind of wanted to make it slightly more meaningful, and I was trying to think about what I could do with these butterflies to give more meaningful interaction. And I thought about maybe one of the final ones, because they start to appear at different community ranks, right? So like whatever the highest rank is, it might be this one, 8. I think 8 is the highest rank one. Yeah, it's going to be 8. So like at 8, if you interacted with the one that appears at community rank 8, it might give you like a special item that restores your health automatically when your health reaches 0 or something like that. That was one option. I feel like that's a really powerful item. There would only be that one in the game. There wouldn't be any others. But even still, I don't even know if I want that one. So like, it's just kind of a loose idea. So that, there's that one option. What I interrupted myself about was that there was something I had been thinking about, which is, so with like a lot of RPG Maker games, I'd recently watched this video, which was like reviewing a handful of popular RPG Maker games. And I noticed that actually a handful of these RPG Maker games have kind of a similar foundation to their idea. Like this, I don't want to sound, I'm not trying to put these games down by saying like they're all doing the same thing. But that's why I'm saying a foundation. Like their stories vastly different, but they still have the same kind of idea of, a lot of them kind of have this like meta kind of narrative where there's the player in the game, and then there's the player, you yourself, and the game may break the fourth wall and actually talk to you directly. They may do things kind of funny with your computer, like make it look like the computer's crashing or throwing up warning signs. Like it's very aware that it's a piece of software, if that makes sense. I've shown off brief snippets of my story here and there, not to mention if you played my previous game, go check it out, it's free to play. As well as, I've kind of mentioned it here or there, is my game kind of has a meta-narrative too, as well, so I guess I'm not falling out of line in that case with RPG Maker games. And so this is all just to kind of say is that, it's funny that so many RPG Maker games seem to have this kind of idea. And I think, this could technically happen with any sort of engine, but I think this is really far-fetched. So bear with me. Try to follow me with this, all right? The tools in RPG Maker, I think, really simplify developers' ability to make insignificant things important. And because they can make insignificant things important, it kind of leads to some of this meta-narrative stuff. Now, all the meta-narrative stuff is kind of irrelevant to the point I'm trying to make right now. It's more that what I just said is that the tools allow for making insignificant things more important easily. And you can technically do this, like I said, with any engine. You could make any sort of yes or no option just, have the illusion of choice. But when we're talking about a single developer who it has to be entirely their own self-control saying, don't do that, we can't develop, I have to develop all the outcomes for the yes or no. I think it's very easy for single developers without a team there saying, don't do that, to not have the self-control and say, oh, if I give this option, then I should also make it important. And it kind of, it's kind of like feature creep. In fact, I would say it's like a child of feature creep. But I called it, in my mind, I kind of call it importance creep, where you start having small little things that you can interact with, small little yes or no questions that might originally, when you put them in, seem innocent and seem like, it's just either giving the illusion of choice or it's not really supposed to be that important. But because you are the sole developer, and have the ability to make it important, you feel like you have to, or you want to. You're thinking, yeah, that'd be really cool. Whereas if you were like in a team, even a small AA developer would have a team who would probably say, that is not part of the design doc, that is not part of the plan for this game, so sorry, we're not going to implement that. So, you know, it's kind of a matter of self-control, and I hope I kind of defined that well. The whole point of talking about importance creep, as I call it, is that these butterflies, like when I'm thinking about making these butterflies have more value than just a fun interaction, that feels like importance creep. And I think that's how it's a double-edged sword. Like, you know, feature creep in limitation can still have positive results, right? It's not just inherently a negative thing. And it's the same thing with importance creep, where you know, I think like a lot of this game's story actually originated from a choice that I implemented that was originally, when I had in my head, it was just a choice that seemed, yeah, you know, it's just kind of a funny joke. But then, you know, not having the self-control as a sole developer, when I actually got to implementing it, I was like, but wouldn't it be cool? You know? So, you know, I think thanks to importance creep, again, a child of feature creep, that I was able to, I think, create a pretty cool story for this game. However, it is a creep, which I have to be aware of and watch out for, because it could increase development time, or just, I think, you know, it just starts kind of detracting from the original intent of the game, I guess. Intent? Vision would be a better word. So, yeah. So, I don't know. With that in mind, importance creep, I don't know what I want to do with these butterflies. I feel like creating whole new items, because, mind you, that auto-revive item doesn't exist, and having even mentioned that during the stream, I kind of realized I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure it exists through a plugin, but I don't think that automatic revive function exists within vanilla RPG Maker. Now, I'm certain I can find a plugin to make it happen, because that's not an original idea. I mean, that's straight up just a fairy from Zelda, right? And that's kind of where I got the idea from anyways. And there's a number of plugins to make RPG Maker basically a top-down 2D Zelda game. So I'm certain there is a plugin that allows items to trigger automatically based on certain variables or whatever. So, yeah, I'll have to get that plugin, and because it's not built into RPG Maker natively. I also have an idea of how I could probably do it, but it'd be a very lengthy and annoying process where I could create it as an effect within a battle, but then I'd have to apply this effect to every single battle as an event page. So like if we go here to troops, you can create these battle events, and I could probably create a new event with a condition: if the player has this item, then if the player has this item and the player's health reaches, you know, less than or 0, equal to or less than 0, then use the item. But then I'd have to copy that event to every single troop in my game. And by the way, all these troops here are just for one level. Now imagine I have 2 more levels that I need to make. Plus the final boss battle, which I plan to be an endurance. Which may make even more troops as well. I not have to copy that to all of them just to create that effect. It'd definitely be something that would need to be done through plugins. My point is implementing that feature into the game would take time. Is that time within my, again, I've mentioned this before, limited scope of this game? And when I ask myself that question, the answer is no. That is not within the scope of this game. Logically speaking, the logical side of my head says, don't implement that. It is outside the scope of this game. However, the part that says, oh, that's a fun idea, says, yeah, fuck it. Fuck that logical part. I know you keep telling yourself, that's outside the scope of this game, but who cares about scope? Just fucking do it, man. So, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out. I might just have them give you items that already exist in the game, or items that are easy to implement. I might even just, actually, Occam's razor, right? The most obvious problem isn't the easiest answer, or the most obvious solution isn't the easiest, whatever. Occam's razor. What is it? I gotta look this up now. How do you even spell Occam? Is it with an O? Occam. I'm gonna misspell it, but they'll know what I'm talking about. I was pretty close. It is with an O, but I put a OCCO. It should be OCCA. That's actually an even better way. This is literally feature creep, and as what I was just talking about as a child of feature creep, importance creep. Entities should not be multiplied beyond necessity. Well spoken. That is Occam's razor. Occam's razor. Yeah. So, I may just do some fun dialogue for each of them or something like that. And I think that would be just fine. So anyways, I think we've talked about this courtyard enough. It's a pretty relaxing place. I think there's this really nice contrast between, like, having this very serene kind of peaceful atmosphere. There's no music here, and I don't think I want to change that either. There's no music here or here, and so there's this kind of serene, it's like the calm before the storm, because once you enter here, then the music starts, music that I worked on last time. I don't know, I'm going to show this off too. But before I show it off, let's just kind of go through this hallway. This is 255 tiles tall, by the way. So this is what 255 tiles tall looks like. Now, I am going to decorate this room some more. I've only been doing kind of the very basic, the bare necessity of decorations, for the sake of just making sure that I can focus more on getting the timing right. Because the one thing is I do want some of these transitions in the music to be vaguely on time. Like, I want certain transitions to be fairly close to a change in the music. Now, I can't perfect that, and I can't really, I don't have the tools, nor do I really want to create the tools to do this, but I don't really have the ability to control when the player will transition to the screen. However, if I assume that some players will at least will know to pretty much hold forward and will not just be, investigating stuff and going slow, taking their time. I've pretty much prevented you from doing that anyways, because, it's literally a single tile wide. You can't stand on this tile, you can't stand on this tile, so you're just going straight. I've also thought about trying to find some sort of UI element that just tells the player, like, go. I've thought about this. If you recently there's the Stanley Parable Ultimate Deluxe Edition or whatever, the new version of the Stanley Parable just came out. Coincidentally, I didn't know this. I thought this was cool. Doug, the streamer who does like fun little like mods of games that use like voice control to control a game, or Twitch chat controls a game, or whatever, fun little challenges like that. through mods and whatever. His brother is the writer and creator of of the Stanley Parable. I didn't know that until recently. Doug had a stream with his brother on to talk about the new release of the Stanley Parable, and he where was I going with this now? I forgot. Oh my god, I forgot. Where was I going with this? He mentioned something important, something that stuck out to me in his creation of the Stanley Parable. And now I can't remember what that had to do with timing. Timing of music. Something Stanley Parable. Timing. Yeah, fuck it. I don't know where it went. Oh my god. My train of thought was fucking derailed into a horrific accident. Whatever. Anyways. So, I have no control over what the players might do. And so there's a strong possibility they might just fuck off. But I have... Oh! I remember! Yeah! He talked about how... Because the game... I wouldn't really say it's not the same kind of meta-ness that I was talking about in like RPG Maker, but there is certainly a stronger interaction between the narrator in Stanley Parable and you, the player, that it can sometimes come off passively aggressive, and inherently there's some sort of like psychological effect where like a lot of players either have distrust or want to do the opposite of whatever the narrator says. And so what the Doug's brother said, I don't remember his name, so I'm sorry for calling him Doug's brother. What he had said was that players just, like, they tried putting in, like, different signs to, like, inform players, like, there's nothing here, or whatever, and, or there's no point in going forward, or whatever, but inherently, because of the way that the game is designed, they found that players actually didn't trust those signs. They thought those signs were lying to them. So what they ultimately decided to do was just kind of just scrap it, because players didn't trust them, because that's just the way the game has been designed. It's been designed of doing the opposite of what the narrator says. And so my game, also in a similar vein, has this sort of meta-narrative to it. This sort of like... You know, I think there is sort of an inherent distrust that I feel like if I ever put a sign that in my game that says there is no reason to explore this map because there's no treasures, just keep pushing forward, inherently, because of the way the game is designed, players wouldn't trust it. They'd think I'm specifically hiding. I'm saying that specifically to them because they think I'm hiding something. Right? That's what players might think. So it's kind of like I can't just have a hint pop up and say, "Don't stop moving," because I'm worried that the way the game has been designed is going to make players distrust that message, where they're going to think, "Oh, I do need to stop moving." So I've been trying to think of ways to try to inform the players that they need to keep going, but it can't just be like an explicit message to them. And now the idea I had in my mind was like, maybe if I did something like what a racing game would do, kind of, right? There wouldn't be the red, yellow, green, right? Like, it wouldn't be like that. No, that was totally the Mario Kart rhythm. Anyways, it wouldn't be like that. But instead, there would just be like a UI element that would just flash that with like an arrow sign, and it just says go. It'd just like flash, and it'd just be flashing go, go, go. And that would be it. And I feel like with that kind of just like a UI element doing that, that would be effective at telling the players that they need to start moving forward. And hopefully that will convince players to not stop and explore, so that way they can keep up with the timing of the music. Because like I said, I don't have the tools and for like creating dynamic music, for controlling the flow of the music to make sure that it stays in sync with the players. Nor do I want to create those tools or go find the tools to implement those tools into the game? Because I can promise you, even if there's a plugin to do dynamic music, I think I saw one actually, it would still take a lot of time to make sure that the triggers and events for controlling the flow of music happen correctly. And remember what I was saying about feature creep and scope. This is not importance creep because this is not where a choice is being made, and this would just be regular old feature creep. Yeah, it's outside the scope of this game, so I'm not going to implement that. So instead, I just have to do whatever I can to make sure that players feel convinced that they just need to move forward. So with all that being said, I've been talking about that for a long time now. I can't control when they will reach the transition to the next map, but hopefully they will be close enough to where I want them to be in the song, so that way it feels significant. When this part of the song starts playing, it kind of matches the mood of the area that they're in. And I'm going to show that off. I'm going to play it the way that players should play it. I have allowed for some slight leniency on the timing with this stuff. And so in that case, I might actually wind up ahead because I kind of expect players to take a brief moment. So if I know exactly what's going on and I start moving like basically frame perfect, that means because I allowed for leniency, I'll be ahead of the schedule. Anyways, I'll show it off shortly. But in this first room, like I said, there will be more decorations, but there's... you're just going to be moving forward. You'll see these kind of like, I have this barrier right here, and then up here there's also this weird kind of like divergence, and the reason for that was, it's not necessary now, but it was for timing purposes, because you're not like during this section here you have to move left or right, you're not moving forward, so this is slowing the player down. So I diverged here to try to slow the player down. Now, eventually I got to a point where I realized I actually don't need this divergence, and in fact it'd probably help if I had removed the divergence altogether, but oh well, it's implemented now. It doesn't hurt anything to leave it there, so I'm just going to leave it there. But originally that divergence there and the gate at the beginning was to adjust the player's speed with timing. So yeah, you'll notice that I know there's events. There's this event here, but actually this is the trigger to transition to the next map. So you'd notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 tiles left to play with as far as timing with the music. So yeah, it probably wasn't necessary that I have these divergences to slow the player down, but oh well, it is what it is now. So that transitions to here. This map is not 255 tiles tall, and that's actually because this one is 255 tiles tall, but it doesn't get to the point in the music that I would want to transition to the outside, where, you know, we're looking down at the ground. So I needed to create an additional map that lasts the length of the last little bit of that music until you are looking down at the ground, and then here is when I will implement the parallax effect. I haven't implemented it yet, and we'll go over some of the reasons why in just a moment. But now that I've kind of walked you through the whole map, starting from the North Corridor and going up to this map here, which is 255 tiles tall, by the way, let's go ahead and play test it real fast. And what I'll do is I think I will just launch my save right here that starts in town. So this way you'll be able to see the transition from town into the castle area. Let me turn up the volume as well. So before I continue, I'll put that... That's probably fine. I don't know. Let's turn it all the way up. Yeah. So the music fades out. We have this gentle wind sound going on in the background. And I'm sorry, I have an air purifier on. And it's very noisy. And that's because I've been having just awful allergies lately. But let me turn that off because it keeps triggering my microphone. So let me turn it off. I think I'll be okay for a little bit. I'm not going to start exploding into snot and tears. It also makes my speakers pop. I'm not sure, I couldn't hear through the headphones, but I think my speakers had popped when I did that. So if you heard popping, that's because, for some reason, when I turn off my air purifier, which is plugged into the outlet over there, my speakers, which are plugged into the outlet over here, go... So yeah, you have this peaceful wind, and this is... I may change it. I did some walks lately. Oh, I can... Hang on, let me... I'm going to switch over to my... Yeah, here. I think I can bring this up. I have this stupid phone app on my desktop. So I can bring up pictures from my phone. Oh gosh, I have a bunch of messages on my phone. Wait, my phone doesn't say I have a bunch of... Oh no, it's just... Wow, okay, whatever. Oh, they updated it. How do I... Oh, there we go. Photos. I want to make sure there's nothing incriminating. Like right there. There's an address. There's some receipts. Let's scroll down before I bring that up on my screen. There's my address. Yeah, okay, alright. I can't show you all of the pictures that I'd like to show because, yeah, like I said, there's... Oh, I can do it like... Yeah, that's fine. Just need to remember, go left. Alright, this is risky business. So, this is a mountain that's, near my house. It's a little bit of a walk, but I've been going there lately for exercise, and it's just enjoying the peacefulness of it. And yeah, you can kind of see. This is like there's this rock that really is a really big boulder, really, and I could climb up on top of it. I know it's not the best picture. But I just really liked it because there's kind of like this clearing in the trees, plus climbing up on top of the boulder gave me a really nice sight line from across the mountain. And you can see, whoa, way off in the distance, there's the city over there. I think that's actually Kyoto over there, but I'm not completely sure. Yeah, just some more pictures of this. I tried getting better angles or whatever. Using a phone, using a phone camera, you can't really get the... couldn't really get the kind of picture that I wanted out of it. But anyways, it's a really beautiful area. And my whole point of talking about this is I've actually been kind of sampling some of the just nature sounds because it sounds really nice up there. It's just really beautiful and peaceful. And so, I would just take my phone, push the record button, and just like lay it down on a log somewhere. And I would walk away because... I don't want to pick up any of my like breathing or shuffling or whatever. So I would just like push record, put my phone down somewhere, and just walk away for a little bit and just kind of let it record nature. And my whole point of saying this is that I kind of think I want to use that for the peaceful sounds as much as I love this like gentle breeze through the trees. Getting some birds and some nature sounds in there would just be nice. So I have to see how they sound. I've listened to them just like off my own phone speaker. I haven't taken them off my phone and put them on on my computer yet to listen to them through my monitor headphones, but I'm sure they sound fine. You can see here in this picture, this is the boulder that I was actually standing on here. So, yeah, you can see I climbed up on top of that boulder and could see through the clearing here. So, anyways, it's a really nice area. And I'm afraid I might be getting to the end of my photos here, and I know like some of the last photos in this roll of photos is someone's address and contact information, and then also right after that is a receipt with a lot of my personal information. It's actually a receipt from the hospital, so it's like showing medical records on stream. I don't really want any of that to pop up on stream, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here just out of safety because I don't want to accidentally show that stuff on stream. So anyways, point is I just kind of wanted to show off this mountain. If I remember, I don't know how much people are going to be into looking at pictures of a mountain nearby, but if I remember, I'll take those pictures off my phone and actually put them into like I don't want to say slideshow, but put them into their own folder, so that way there's no other personal information with those pictures, and I can show off all the pictures of the mountain that I've collected. There's some nice ones because there's a lot of hiking trails there, and even though all the hiking trails go up to the mountain, there's not a lot up there other than, of course, nature. But almost all the trails that go down the mountain like end at a shrine, and I've actually hiked almost all of the main hiking trails. There's a handful of like smaller hiking trails, but personally, I'm almost a little bit afraid to go down those hiking trails because there's plenty of warning signs throughout the mountain that they've even bothered to translate into English, by the way. That's how serious they are about this. It says, do not leave the hiking trails because there are boars. And the wild boars really in Japan, but especially in the mountains here in my area, are very aggressive and very territorial. In fact, my city, using my tax dollars, has our own public servant who is a public trapper, and it is his job as a civil servant to trap and relocate some of the boars. And so, yeah, it's serious business here. Those boars can cause trouble. So, yeah, it's out of fear of possibly meeting one of those boars that I don't want to really go down some of those smaller trails. I like to stick to the main trails. So, yeah. Anyways, here's the area that I was talking about. So I didn't really show this off. There is this little puzzle here. The thing I like about this puzzle actually is that there's nothing that tells you what to do. You just have to guess. And the nice thing is even if you have the right answer, it never tells you if you even have the right answer. And this is one of those things that I was talking about, where... What was I talking about? This is one of those things I was talking about, but I don't know what I was talking about. This is just... It's a subtle little puzzle that you're left to your own devices to figure out. And I like it. There's no, like, you're not missing out on any major reward for not solving it. It's just it's a hidden puzzle for a hidden reward. So, yeah. The dragonfly actually shouldn't be here. I don't know why he's here. He's not supposed to be turned on until you get community rank 10. But he's here for some reason. I must have forgotten to turn that on. Like, turn on the requirements for what makes him appear. So he's just here by default right now. But that'll get changed. And there's a butterfly there and a fish there. Because my community, I think, is rank 2. So you can try to catch the dragonfly. He's pretty tough. I've had to adjust his logic to make it a little bit easier, but he's still pretty tough. So anyways, so here's what happens when you try to enter. So it gives you a warning. It appears you have not completed all of the levels. You will be unable to return to town unless Fiddle's health reaches 0 from this point forward. Make sure you have prepared all the supplies necessary for the challenge ahead. So, then it asks you, do you want to continue? And you can say on second thought, which will just push you back. Or you can say, yes, I'm ready, which now will put you into the castle. And yes, you cannot, I've decided that I don't want to put any sort of transitions going back on the map. The transitions only take you forward, and that's it. It's not that I can't put the transitions going back, but remember, the point with this section is that it's for the song, and everything's lined up with the timing of the song. There's no reason for you to go back. Zero reason. I do not want to give players any sort of excuse to upset the timing of the music. So, let's go. So, like I said, there's, I hadn't implemented the parallax thing here yet. I shouldn't have closed out of the game, actually, because then I could just show you what's wrong. You may have noticed, hopefully you noticed this, that there's a little bit of blue peeking out of the side on the sides of the stairs. And that's just because the stairs that I'm using on this map are not the same that I'm using on this map. And as you can see, these are, I would call, full width tiles. So the tile extends from edge to edge in the whole grid space, right? Full width tiles. But if we go to this set of stairs, it is not full width. There is a little bit of transparency on the left side for this tile and a little bit of transparency on the right side for this tile. And so the result is that the mask that I had created here does not line up with this stairs. So I just need to adjust the mask. That's the... Uh-oh, I'm gonna sneeze. See, I shouldn't have turned that off. So this is, I just need to adjust the mask. That's really all that needs to be done. That's what needs to be done. So, once I can do that, then I can start implementing the parallax effect that I had going here on this one. Now, also mentioning to that little test, I just want to remind you that because I know exactly what to do and I know to start pushing forward immediately, the timing is, like I said, I would be a little bit ahead. I have done a few different runs of like adjusting how long I wait, and it kind of seems like, I think what I would consider like a normal wait time lands like almost perfectly here on this map, right when that first crash comes in and the drums start going. But like I said, I don't have the tools to do dynamic music, so I can't really control the flow. So I think being ahead of schedule is better than being behind for the effect, in my opinion. So yeah, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfectly synchronized unless you're very lucky and you happen to wait just the right amount of time before pushing forward. But it is what it is. But I'm pretty happy with it so far. So I do want to decorate these areas a little bit. Like I said, in this one here, I do want to do some more decorations. I just wanted to set up get the timing of the music right, and then also you notice as I was going through it, these torches light up. These torches light up as I move through, which was not as simple as I was hoping it would be, and that's mostly just because the plugin that I'm using apparently only allows up to 20 lights possible, and there's 25 lights on the map. So I had to do some playing around, and also I think this is a bug with RPG Maker. I don't know. I couldn't find the source of this bug. But after, I think this is 21, right? Yeah, because this is light on 1. So let me explain the lights, the torches first. There could only be 20 lights, 20 torches, right? Through the plugin, which is just the lighting effect that goes on. There can only be 20 lighting effects, or 20 unique lighting effects. I could bind lighting effect, like this one is 17, so both of these, this torch and this torch, are 17, so no problem. That's fine. But if I wanted 20 and 21, 20 is okay, but 21 is a new unique one, and it doesn't allow past 21. So I had some problems with that I had to solve, and all that was, it's fairly simple, is that at a certain point, it starts culling some of the original lights that get turned on. So like here, yeah, light off 2. So when you turn on light on 14, it turns off light 2. So that way we can roll over to here where lights 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 will get turned on again at this section. So that was one of the problem solving I had to do with that. Now the other thing is I had a weird bug with this section. So you'll notice here that the controlling variable for turning on these lights is called wall torch. And if we go back down here to these, you'll notice this is torch light. I don't know if this is an RPG Maker bug or if this is something that I did wrong, but I fucked around with this a lot. But for whatever reason, once again, going past 20 in the control variables, which it just incrementally adds 1 to this variable, and then each of these torches is looking for that increment. So like this one is 21, so it'd be looking for 21, except I had to switch to wall torch. But originally it would have been torch light 21. That's what it was looking for, to know to turn on. So like I said, I don't know if this is a bug with RPG Maker or something that I was just missing, but it seemed like the minute I triggered 21, this one right here, everything above 21 would also just turn on. It's like 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 would all just turn on all at once. And I don't know why that was. And it was also, there's also a weird bug I found later where starting at 24, it would actually continue to count regularly. So do 24 or 25. Like it wouldn't just turn on everything past 24 for some reason. I don't know why. So I did actually originally just skip the integers from 21 to 23 and just started at 24. However, even by switching it to 24, by starting at 24 and skipping those integers, I still had that weird bug where just everything, now it's just like, even now that I've jumped there, so now 24, 25, 26, and 27, and 28 would just turn on instantly at this point. I have no idea why that was, but I wound up just changing it to its own new variable to control these wall torches, and that fixed it. So yeah, getting this set up, I thought was going to be simple. I thought it was just going to be a lot of tedious work of repeating a lot of similar stuff, you know, copy, paste, over and over. I thought that's just all it was going to be, but even after copying and pasting everything, I had to deal with fucking bugs and weird things, weird programming things with this plugin that for some reason only limits it to 20 torches. So anyways, yeah, once I got that, oh, I should also mention that you maybe noticed it, it's pretty subtle, but actually with each torch that gets lit, there's the ring of darkness around the player. So each torch that gets lit, that ring of darkness grows just a little bit. And because there's 25 torches, you know, it starts fairly small, but by the end, after 25 torches, it's grown by like 20 or 25% in size. So, you know, it's not a whole lot, but it's still way more than where you started. The other thing that also happens is there's a tint of the screen. So it starts fairly dark in this room, and at the end it's still pretty dark, but it does get a little bit more saturation, and it does brighten up just a little bit with each one of these. So you can see here's the tint. So it starts at minus 38, minus 38, minus 33, 97. And then when you get to the next one, minus 36, minus 36, minus 31, 94, right? So each one of these just makes a very small change to the tint on the screen, and so by the time you get up here, it's a little bit brighter, it's a little bit warmer. So yeah. So anyways, like I said, I wanted to get those torches set up and the music timing and all that, and then I'll work on like laying down tiles and decorating this room a little bit more. I don't know how much decoration I want to do. I think I mostly probably just want to use some more of these pillars just occasionally, and maybe add a few more statues, because like I have these statues here. And that might be it. That might be all I do, is just add occasional statues and those pillars, and that might be all. But then up here, I'll also do some more decorating. This is what I was working on before streaming, is doing some decorating in this room. You can see I've laid down some tiles. Yeah. That's that. I don't know if there's anything else that needs to be said. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's mostly what I want to talk about. Yeah, I mostly worked on doing this castle area throughout this past week. Although I also played a lot of Warframe instead of working on the game, but never mind that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is coming along so far. I don't know if... Oh, that is one thing I did want to talk about before I wrap up this stream. So the one thing I did realize is that... how long is this song? I shouldn't bring up... The version that's actually in the game is not completely accurate, because there's like a very long section at the end to kind of cope with the fact that if the player just decides to just AFK or something on the route, that they wouldn't just be left in silence. It wouldn't completely, ultimately destroy the effect. It would still be mostly ruined, but it wouldn't be 100% ruined. It'd just be 90% ruined if they decide to AFK. So I shouldn't play the in-game version. The listening version, the listenable version, does not have that. So let's find out how long is that. Is that this one? I think it's this one. Yeah. So the 4 minutes and 26 seconds, that is the length of the song, I have come to realize is really long. It's a lot longer than I expected. I was kind of thinking that within the first 255 tiles, I would be able to get up to where the drums come in. Where did the drums come in? It's like here. No, it's at 110, I think. No, it's not. It's gonna be at like 130. It's 130. Yeah, 133. So the drums come in at 133. So I was hoping in a minute and 33 seconds we'd be able to go from here to here. But no, actually you can clear 255 tiles going straight north much faster than 1 minute and 33 seconds, which is why this second map has to exist. That's kind of like the last little bit before the 1 minute 33 second mark where the drums come in. So then here is where the parallax effect that I had to work on throughout the week will come in. And then after the parallax effect, I thought it would just go into like space. So it'd go from parallax to the sky, like above clouds, kind of like we're looking at now, except I would use this one, which is what I actually used for the thumbnail, but I just turned it. But anyways, I'd use this as above the clouds, and then from the clouds you'd go into space. But I've come to realize that 4 minutes and 26 seconds is actually a really long time for just going straight and trying to control this effect, and that I think that's not enough. Going from looking down at the ground below as you go up, the parallax effect thing, to the clouds to space is not enough. And I think during the little like segment where all the different voices come in, so actually, here's what I'm going to do. Let me make sure that the audio pumping is just fine and you'll still be able to hear me. So let's audio test this real fast. Yeah, I think it needs to be turned down just a little bit. Probably like there. It's probably actually too much now. I think that might be... Okay, maybe it was fine where it's at. I just need to move closer to the mic. Alright, so let me just like talk to you guys through this song. I'm going to skip ahead to the drums. It's 133 here. So, like I said, so here's where the looking down at the ground would be with the parallax effect. So during this section, you're looking down, the ground's dropping out below you as you get higher, and this is going to continue happening throughout this section here. Up until we get to the strings, which is not here. So the ground is still dropping out below you. This is really a long time. I think maybe at this point it might just be mostly blue because I have that blue haze effect start to come in too. So yeah, maybe it'll be mostly blue at this point. But then here, I think is about where the transition to above the clouds would be. So now we're above the clouds, and throughout this section, which is kind of fiddle section, we'll be listening to the fiddle section while the clouds are transitioning into space, really. But it'd still be a gradual thing. I think it would stay above the clouds without even space coming in quite yet. So now I think space would very slowly start to come in here. With the little whispery section. So now very, very gradually, the clouds are going to start fading out, space is going to start coming in, and I think it'd actually probably go to black before we even start to see stars, because I think during this section, while everything's black, these are all the different NPC voices, right? You can hear all the different sounds for the different NPC voices, and what I was thinking is I should do something special for this section in this whole little staircase thing that we're doing. So I was thinking about something special here before now transitioning to space. And then for the final climb is you'll just be in space. I was thinking about maybe even possibly... I found a plugin to put a video as the parallax background, so maybe even having some cool little like video, like some looping space thing in the background might be pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, so it's during that section with all the different voices that I was trying to think about what it is that I want to do, and it kind of comes back to that whole scope and feature creep kind of thing. So like one cool idea I had is it would be cool to have like you could think of like raindrops coming in, and like when it hits the ground and kind of like spreads out, that would be like a really cool transition effect to show like maybe a screenshot of the game of like that character that's speaking in the song. So just psh, there's that character, psh, there's that character, psh, there's that character, psh, there's that character. Like it happened pretty quick, but I think it'd be pretty cool. But that also getting that like water drop transition effect is probably way out of my abilities. I probably either need to hire someone, or I might be able to do that actually using Premiere and After Effects, but I hate editing. That's why I do all these things live, because I avoid editing with a passion. So if something requires me to open up video editing software, I am probably not gonna do it. So rather than doing that, I mean, if it's making simple cuts or whatever, like, you know, like the space background thing, like, I don't know, I don't see myself spending a long time in a video editor putting that together. So that would probably be fine. Yeah, making that whole, you know, water drop effect kind of thing, like, yeah, that one sounds tough. So I think the alternative would be to just have like some sepia-toned images that just kind of have some feathering around them, just with, you know, it's like some transparency. So just be like a feathered little soft circle, and they could just appear and fade out, which would be an option, but would still take a little bit of work to implement within RPG Maker, or otherwise do it within a video editor, get that plugin to put it as a parallax background and do it that way. That's one option. But also, I don't know, that also might be out of the scope of this project. I'm not completely sure, so I'll have to think about it. Also, the other thing is that since the song uses the voice of basically every NPC, including bosses, which obviously there's some bosses that haven't even been implemented in the game yet, because I only have one level completed. I wouldn't even be able to actually finish that section until pretty much the whole game is done. So I don't know if I really like that idea either. So I'm not sure what I want to do, but I guess the problem is that I have 4 minutes and 26 seconds of music that I have to fill with this staircase thing. And the parallax effect thing of rising above the, you know, the ground below, which is what I spent a lot of time this week working on, that's cool. But that's not filling up the whole 4 minutes and 26 seconds. I suddenly realized, as I said, I thought, you know, a third of that song would be filled up by 255 tiles. Oh, by the way, I wound up doing math on this. Yeah, I put a comment here. You'll notice here, it's approximately 985 tiles from start to end to the end chord of the song. So technically it's not 4 minutes and 26 seconds because, let's bring the song back up. Because I want the whole climb to pretty much end about here. Here. This is the end chord. So yeah. So it's approximately 985 tiles from start to end chord of the song. That's not including transitions, so the number is slightly less. So yeah, I did the math. I did the math probably a little bit too late in. I should have been doing that math much earlier, but there it is. So yeah, 985 tiles of interesting things happening. And the music is interesting. It doesn't have to be super duper interesting. I think the music does carry a lot. I have some bias as not only the developer of the game, but also the creator of the song. So I have some extreme biases here, but I really feel like even just walking through this first initial hallway with just the music going and the torches going, it's not a lot to look at, but there's a lot to hear. And I do think that's pretty compelling. It's just a matter of people are going to be going through this, and there's going to be probably a point when people are like, probably like midway through this section here where they're like, this is still going. Oh my God, when does it end? And they'll only be about halfway through it. So, yeah, I don't know. 4 minutes and 26 seconds is tough to fill. So I don't know. Really what I want to do is I just want to implement this parallax effect, probably up to the clouds, getting the clouds to come in. And then I think I might actually stop working on this area. This is the area for like before the final boss. So like it doesn't need to be done right now. So I may just like get up to the point of where the clouds come in and then just call that a good stopping point and then come back to it at a later point. And then when I get to that stopping point, I'll just, one of two things, either work on, you know, the town doing NPC stuff, or God forbid this guy who promised to make this throwing fish plugin actually gets it done. And once I have that plugin, I can start working on the cave. The only reason why I'm saying it like that is it's not like he had promised to start making that plugin as soon as he read my post about it. He'd actually originally said that he had been working on a plugin fairly similar to what I want, and it was just going to add in a couple of extra functions based on what I wanted to do in my post. So he made it sound like he was going to be done fairly quick, and it's been longer than that. He made an update video showing off the functions on April 25th. So we're almost to 1 month since that update. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna get to a point where I might just not use that plugin and I'll just have to figure something else out, which is disappointing because I really had my heart set on doing this whole puzzle fish throwing mechanic. But oh well. Anyways, yeah, I was gonna try to stop the stream like almost 20 minutes ago, I think. And so anyways, yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I do want to try to continue streaming every week, but I don't want to make any promises. I'm gonna try, but there's no promises. All right. So we'll see about next week. Hopefully I will be here. I will be live, and I will continue to try to do this YouTube thing and hopefully turn a buck or two out of it. Probably not, but we'll see. So anyways, speaking of turning a buck or two, make sure to, you know, do the thing, the like and the subscribe and leave a comment or whatever. And don't forget to check out the stuff in the description. There's my game. You can play my game. It's free. My previous game, not this game, obviously, because I'm still working on this one. You can check out my music. It's not free. Some of it is. Some of my older stuff is free, but my good stuff is not free. But it's worth every penny that you pay, which is only $5. So that's a Starbucks coffee. That's the old sales pitch I was taught at an MLM. And check out my book. I'm finished with it. I'm finished publishing chapters on it, so it's you can read the whole thing from start to finish in its entirety, plus some bonus stuff there at the end. And that's actually free as well, so go check out that stuff. Check out all the stuff in the description. Oh, and I forgot, I added my Discord in the description as well. I totally forgot about that. It's been pretty quiet in my Discord lately, so I'm hoping maybe a person or two might join the Discord and kind of liven things up a little bit. So yeah, there's a link to my Discord down in the description. I hadn't ever promoted it before because it was kind of like a small little group kind of thing, but most of us we're still in there and we still talk on very rare occasions, but we're all kind of doing our own thing now, so it's a little bit quieter in there. So we definitely need someone to come and liven the place up. So if you think that's you, go join my Discord, come liven the place up a little bit. So yeah, with all my promotion and all that stuff out of the way, that's going to be it for this stream. Thank you very much for joining, as usual. You probably joined the archive, but thank you for joining the archive wherever you are. If you're in the archive or in the live stream, you're on the live stream. No one's talking. Thanks, and see you next time.